Oh, we've got a good bit of stuff in the pan. It looks like something's been hot for sure. Well, I'm pretty sure we were too late on the transmission, guys. I went out and did one more good heavy throttle acceleration run, and I got a lot. I smell the transmission and I got a big puff of smoke. So, and now I can feel it's not grabbing like it should be. So I think we were too late on the transmission. I think she's done. Well, it doesn't look good, team. It's never good when your transmission is ventilating excess fluid, because there is no excess fluid. It's all over. Trans fluid everywhere. I have a feeling, like I said, that wrong fluid, it just toasted all the bushings and she's shot. So we won't know exactly what happened until I get it out and get it torn apart. But it looks like we're going to be building another transmission. Yay! Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for coming back. So, as you just saw, I don't think we were able to save the transmission. I think we did too much damage with that wrong Dexron 6 transmission fluid in it. So it's got to come out of the truck. Let's get it pulled out and see if we can't figure out what happened. All right, well, we got the transmission out of the truck. Doing a visual inspection. I don't see anything visibly cracked, damaged, or broken on the outside of it. The torque converter looks okay. No visible obvious damage to the outside of that. So I'm gonna get the torque converter pulled off and set it out to drain, and then I'll get the transmission up on the transmission holder and we'll start pulling it apart. I did drain the fluid out before I dropped the transmission down. I don't know where all the fluid went, either in the transfer case, because that seemed a little bit full, but I didn't pull the upper plug to check and see if it was over full. I just drained it. Or it must have blown it out all over the road or something, because I only got maybe 2 quarts out of it, and it should have had, I mean, at least a gallon and a half should have drained out. And I don't know if it shows up in the video, but there's still a lot of metal dust in there. Okay, got the transmission up on the stand. Still don't see anything obviously blatantly wrong from the outside. So we'll get the pan knocked off, we'll get the pump popped out, and we'll start going through the through the power stack and see if we can find what's wrong, what's broken. So we've got just a little bit, I don't know if you can see it there, teeny bit of shavings in the pan, otherwise pretty clean. I didn't expect there to be a lot in there since I changed the transmission fluid right before this happened to take the Dexron 6 out and put the Dexron 3 in. Got the pump out. I don't see anything obviously wrong with the pump. I'm gonna split the halves just so I can see if there's anything broken, if the pump is okay, if I need to order pump pieces. Let's get this pump apart and see what's in there. See how this looks. Oh, that doesn't look good. Well, I can see it, but I can't feel it. is missing. Sloppy. I think we're gonna need a new pump. Okay, well, still nothing obviously wrong, damaged, or broken. It looks like our pump's got a little wear on it. I was kind of expecting that. So let's keep getting this thing apart. I'll bring you back when I find something. All right, everybody. Well, I've got everything completely apart now. I got all the pistons out, all the retainers out. I took my sprags apart and checked my, actually these are roller clutches. I took the roller clutches out and checked those out. And I can't find anything else, anything obviously broken. Like I said, I just have a lot of really worn bushings. So I think my next step is I'm gonna order a seal kit, so it'll have all the lip seals and everything else. I already have a bushing kit, so I'll get all the new bushings put in. I'll get all the new lip seals put in for the pistons. And then I might upgrade a couple of the bushings to rollers just to reduce some of that rolling friction a little bit, but I can't find anything obviously wrong that tells me why this thing had no forward gears. So I'm just gonna get started on cleaning everything up, getting the lip seals replaced. I'll get the new pump. The only thing I can think of is if that pump just wasn't developing enough pressure to work anymore. But like I said, I have another transmission with a pump that hopefully I can use. So I'll get started on switching parts. I'll order the seals that I need and I'll get started putting it back together. All right, everybody, so it's the next day. Been all through this transmission. I found a couple things wrong. They may or may not have been what caused failure, but this is all I can find obviously wrong with the thing. So the first thing I have here is, this is the bushing that goes through the inside. This is where main pump pressure comes back in. So pump pressure comes from the outside of the center support right into through this hole, and then it follows these paths to where it's supposed to be inside there. There's a hole through the center support or through the center shaft that goes out the rest of the way. I don't know if you can see it here, but most of the bushing material is gone from on the shell right there, which would cause a pretty substantial transmission fluid leak, especially pressurized fluid leak. And then obviously if you don't have enough pressure, your clutches don't engage right, it goes downhill from there, okay? All of my other support bushings, hopefully you can see it in this one, but they're all scored pretty heavily. I think all of that material that was in the transmission pan was bushing material. So that one's scored up. These other ones got busted up coming out, but you can still see, like, this one's also pretty scored. These are pretty scored. So I went through and I replaced all the bushings. So it's got all brand new bushings in it now. I checked the end play. I double checked the end play to make sure I have the right amount of end play in it. I checked all the lip seals and all the pistons. I checked all of the sealing surfaces inside to make sure I didn't have any gouges or cuts or scrapes or anything like that. As far as I can tell, and this is just as far as I've gone, but everything in the transmission up to this point where I have it now is 100% ready to go. Okay, it's right, it's good. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't work. All of my clutches look good, all of my steels look good. All the seals on the pistons, all the bushings, all the scarf cut seals on the center support, everything looks good. So now I've got my parts transmission here. You can see it's got a broken case. So I'm gonna pull the pump out of this one, because I also found in my pump, you can see the scoring, and it's even got a little bit of a rust spot in it. Now I can't feel it, and I can't catch my fingernail on it, but I can see it. So I doubt that was like total failure territory, but it could have been enough that it was leaking pressure. You can also see the sides of my gears are scored pretty significantly. So that's also not good. And it could have been causing me to not have enough pressure. Now I'm sure all of this is the result of me not having the correct fluid in this thing. You know, lesson learned. I had to kill a transmission to do it, but now I know Dexron 6 is not backwards compatible to these older transmissions. So I'm going to get my pump pulled out of my donor. Hopefully that pump is good. I need to take my pressure spring and drill a hole in the donor pump to allow the front to drain back in better. But once I get that stuff, then I should be pretty much ready to put it all back together. And I'll start doing my inspection and the valve body, make sure everything in here looks right, all the seals are good and everything else. So we're getting there. Hopefully I'll have this thing back together maybe tomorrow afternoon. I'm waiting on a new pump seal and a new pan gasket and a new filter. They should be here tomorrow though, so I should be able to finish putting this thing back together and then get it back out on the road. All right, so good news. Got the pump out of my donor transmission. Man, the fluid in that thing was dark, but I know the thing ran and drove when I got it before the bell housing broke. But the pump looks good. I mean, you can still see the machining marks under where the pump gears run on both sides. So the pump looks really good. I took my pressure springs out of the other pump, installed them into this one. I put a new torque converter bushing in and got that seated. And when I did that, I looked at the old one and noticed, I'm not sure if you can see it, but the torque converter bushing on this one is shoved right up against the seal. It's also worn really bad. You can see better from the back how far up into that bore it is. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be like that. I don't know if pressure built up behind the gears and pushed it forward or what happened there, but I'm starting to think that might be the noise I heard where all the fluid went so quickly. That might be the failure that I had, is that bushing moved forward, and instead of being able to drain back down through the hole behind the seal, it just pressured up and blew all the transmission fluid right out against the torque converter. So if that's the case, I'm gonna have it fixed now. Like I said, I got a new bushing in, a new seal is coming tomorrow, and then I'll get this thing all put back together. But that gives me a lot of confidence that that was what was ultimately that bang and then the failure that we had. So I'm gonna keep going on this, get it put back together, and I'll bring you back probably when it's done. All right, everybody. So I got the transmission about 95% back together. I'm just waiting on a new trans pan gasket, transmission filter, and then the pump seals to get here tomorrow. And then I'll sling it back up in the truck. Hopefully we won't have any issues this time. But thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any updates. It also helps me out. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. I have to say, I didn't think having the wrong fluid in the transmission was going to be something that bit me in this project.